And now we're going to do negative exponents. So for negative exponents, we're going to need a non-zero a. That means our base right here cannot be 0. And a will be to the power of negative n. So when you have something to a negative power, what's going to happen is you're going to take the whole term and you're going to bring it to the bottom. So as seen over here, we have 1 over a to the positive n. So just remember that when you do the flipping, once it flips, that n now becomes a positive n. I see a lot of students write this, like you'll flip it, but you'll forget to change that n to a positive. So remember, just do not do this. You want to write it with a positive n. Once you flip it down, make sure that the exponent now becomes positive. So the term basically becomes the reciprocal. Alright, so let's go ahead and let's do some examples. Let's simplify the following. So here I have, for a, I have -6, parentheses -4. So I do see this has a negative exponent. So I am going to leave the negative on top, -1 on top. And for this negative exponent, I'm going to bring down the 6, bring down the 4. But here's the question. When I bring down the 4, is it -4 or +4? That is correct. It is +4. Good job. So this becomes -1 over 6 to the 4th. You can use a calculator if you want to simplify that. This is good enough for me. Remember, it's 6 times 6 times 6. So a total of 4 times, not 6 times 4. All right, how about for b? For b, we have -8 in parentheses to the power of -1. So this whole thing is to the power of -1. So this whole thing needs to drop. So 1 over -8. Now, when I bring it down, does the exponent stay as a negative or as a positive? You are correct again, as a +1. So this will just be -1 over 8. All right, let's take a look at c. At c, we have 1 over x to the -5. Whoa, hold up. That x to the -5 is already on the bottom. What do you think we'll do if you have a negative exponent and it's already on the bottom? What do you think is going to happen? If you say that it's going to go to the top, you are correct. So I'm going to take this term and I'm going to bring it to the top. So I'm going to flip it. Even though it's already flipped, I'm going to flip it back. So now 1 over x to the power of -5. This whole thing comes on top. So it's x to the +5 over 1. But that's unnecessary. We'll just write it as x to the +5. Don't forget, when I flip it back up, again, this exponent is +5 and +5. Once you do the flip, you have to change the sign. Put that on a shirt. All right, how about for d? Whoa, for d, I have m to the power of -2 over n to the power of -7. Two terms, both of them with negative exponents. So we'll just do it one at a time. I guess we could do both. So m to the -2, negative exponent, that should trigger you guys. Uh-oh, I'm triggered. I need to put this to the bottom. Whoops, that's not so great. Let's do that again. So I need to bring this to the bottom. And then for n to the -7, it's already on the bottom. So I can't bring it to like a second layer of bottom. I need to bring it to the top. Bring it to the numerator. So now both of these switch places. So now instead of m on top, I have n on top and m on the bottom. What's the power of n? Is that going to be -7 now or +7? That's correct, +7, because I flipped it. And m will have a power of +2. Getting a little tight, so I'm just going to box in my answer. So remember, you just flip the negative exponent and then make sure that it is positive. All right, and then for e, I have h to the -3 over k to the 4th. I only see one negative exponent, right? I only flip it if there's a negative exponent. Don't have a habit of flipping everything. You want to see it and then simplify it. So only this has a negative exponent. That means only this goes down. So on the bottom, I have k to the 4th. It stays down there because it didn't need to flip because it didn't have a negative exponent. And joining the bottom, I also have h now to the positive 3. Now what's on top? What's left on top when h leaves? What's left is a 1. So your final answer is 1 over k to the 4th times h to the 3rd. Note that this is positive and this is positive, as it has been. All right, go ahead and give the you do a try, please.